Thank you for tuning. Today, I have with us all the way from Hawaii, Eric Martinez, Heidi Kano. Heidi, pronounce it for me because I'm gonna mess it up.
Kanoyao.
Kanoyao. Eric Martinez, Heidi Kanoyao. Please say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Aloha.
So, what we got today are we have the pleasure of having some precious metal marketers with us. And I think this is really a great time to have a conversation for the community about this because when you look at where we're at right now with everything that's on the horizon, right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, they're coming up with digital currencies. They're going to want to take away all the cash. They're coming up with social credit scores, right? All of these things to actually kind of leverage more control over us in a currency-based system. And with you guys being in the precious metal world, you could be one of the last salvations in keeping a free society, especially when it comes to building what they call intergenerational wealth. So how does the wealth across generations impact the economy from your perspective on an economical inequality basis, and how does gold help leverage that for the people, for example?
Well, I think, first of all, um, gold and silver never goes to zero. I mean, you have all kinds of currencies right now in different parts of the world that the United States is kind of falling into, where we're out printing money left and right, but it's not backed behind anything. Um, Back in the day, everything was backed by gold.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's not, and that's why our inflation is so high.
Mm.
If you do have gold and silver behind you, that can be left generationally to your kids, to your grandchildren. Um, you have different places in the world right now where their currency is now no good, and they actually scrape silver and gold from whatever they have at that point to use as currency to buy food. So, I mean, I hope we don't get to that point, but having gold and silver behind you is always going to be good. And leaving it for your children is probably the best thing for them in the future for college and everything else. And that's my perspective. Anything, Heidi?
No. That's pretty much when we first saw what we're in, um, I saw it as being able to be left for generations upon generations in my family.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw the bigger picture of being able to help people out there that don't understand that that is kind of the direction you need to go right now with other countries that are pulling away from the United States and their trading and all of that. um, they're not accepting our currency. But if you have the gold and silver, you have a better chance of being able to do any kind of business with all of them. um, Also, people think that it's too hard to buy gold and silver. But with us and our team, we've learned that if all we had was a dollar, we could start to stack up gold and silver and be able to one day have enough that our generations and those behind us won't have to struggle as much as we are today.
Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Great points. Great points. Because I I actually applaud that because one, like you said, it's recognizable and accepted worldwide, right? Precious
Yeah.
metals in general, whether it's gold, silver, high end metals, titanium, platinum, stuff like that. Um, it's a much more efficient thing to leave to as far as the next generation versus a house. Like people work their whole lives, they slave at these jobs, they buy a house, they get to the point where hopefully they wind up quote unquote owning the house, and then they go to leave the home behind, but they never prepared the family to actually be able to afford the home. Like they may have their apartments, they may have their homes, they may not want to move to the house left behind to them, and then what happens, they can't afford to maintain it and their own property. So what do? They wind up getting rid of it, right, leveraging it for probably some cash at the time. And that means that whole family member, mom and pops, grandpops, grandma, or whoever, worked their whole lives, and now that property is not in the family anyway.
Right.
So leaving the gold behind, is a great alternative. Leaving the silver, leaving the tangible assets, because if nothing else, I mean, you could write a will that says, hey, you're allowed to, use 50% of this for whatever you want, and just keep the rest, whatever. And you can have that enforced, in most cases. So how did you guys become interested in exploring the concept of wealth as a transitory force? Because I think what a lot of people will appreciate is many, of us are going through similarities that we may not know that this is a in-game option of success for us. Things we're in the middle of going through in the moment, could be the trigger to actually put you in a better position later on in life. How did you guys get started with this, and see that in your families and in community around you?
Well, my sister-in-law actually invited me to listen to a Zoom call, and my immediate reaction, because I'm not the greatest with computer and digital and all of that, was to give Eric a call and say, hey, can you jump on a Zoom with me? I need you to be there to listen and be able to explain it to me again,
Hmm.
because I'm not a one-time person by any means. And what she was explaining to me was an avenue where we could help people by just sharing what we had. Um, for me, as soon as I heard gold and silver, it went right out of my playing field, because all I could think of is, how am I going to do this? But as I listened more and was more
Educated.
educated on what was going on with what she's sharing, I realized that it wasn't going to be that hard, and that I could do what was needed to just become a member with her team. And from there, we have a big amount of people that are there for us in every aspect of anything we need. We're taught about the gold and silver. And as I said, I was just, so blown away that I could actually afford it. And from the time that she mentioned it to me till today, it's been about maybe 7 months now. I
Hmm.
actually have gold and silver that I can hold in my hand, and I can leave to anyone in my generational wealth group,
Right.
um, and take care of them, my grandchildren and beyond, just by what I got now, because eventually it's going to be worth more than I got it for, and it's already worth more than the fiat money that we are using today.
True, true. Eric, I want you to tackle this one for us. Critics are going to argue that gold and precious metals lack utility beyond the aesthetic and industrial applications, right? How do you respond to the notions that these assets might not contribute to societal progress and development?
Well, first of all, I think most of them are not educated about the gold and silver, which, I mean, I knew about gold and silver um, when this came about, but I always thought this was something that we would never be able to get into, because anytime I saw something come on TV or on an advertisement over the internet,
Mhm.
was you would have to play with some big money to get in the gold and silver game. Obviously, it's not now that we know this and we were educated. You can get in fractionally with the company that we're with, but knowing that the gold and silver will never go down to zero. So whatever world currency comes about once all of this settles down, with the BRICS and people, there's 21 countries right now that's moved away from the US dollar. We cannot use those 21 countries, which a lot of them own a lot of oil. We cannot purchase
Great
with
point.
the US dollar at this point. So what is it going to revert to? It's going to revert to gold and silver. And when this all hashes out, when the BRICS and everybody and they all come together, there's going to be one currency, which at this point is probably not going to be the US dollar. Now, please, I'm not trying to throw conspiracies out there. This is just the way I see it and what I see in the news at this point. I am
Mhm.
not an expert. Um, we've been in this game, 8 months now, so we're learning as we go. But you can already see it on the news that our dollar is not worth much, and it's not going to be the currency that everybody's going to be using at that point. But whatever currency they do use from whatever country they decide, it's going to be tied to gold and silver. It's going to back to every time there's a financial reset, always goes back to gold and silver. So you will always, if you have gold and silver, you will always have something to use to purchase whatever you need to purchase, from food to homes to cars, because that's going to be the currency. That's going to be the median that a currency is going to be tied to, and whatever that falls out to be, you can do an exchange at that point.
Great point, because everything it will that's the point of it being transitory.
Right.
Regardless of what happens in society, globally, location wise, you can cross that bridge when we get there with the precious metals of gold and silver. I think
Correct.
you and Heidi made some excellent statements. Heidi pointed out everybody starts off not knowing something, right? Once you get there and know it, you realize, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought it was. Okay. So I know you guys got a platform that you get a membership. It's kind of similar to some other platforms. I know I was involved with something 10, 15 years ago. You get the membership, um, and then you can have access to deliveries of whatever you want, basically, volume wise, size wise, um, which is great because in a you may want to get a gram, right? Because you can exchange a gram for a smaller purchase than having uh,
An ounce.
an ounce or a bar, a bigger bar. So you made excellent statements about gold and silver won't go to zero,
Mhm.
right? But the fiat currencies all will. And as far as the buy-in portion, I think a lot of people need to realize, like you said, Heidi, for the money that they spend already, they could be starting their gold stacks. People buy stocks that fluctuate, right? They build up their 401ks. Imagine if all, and that all has the potential to go to zero. Versus if they had that same investment into, work with you guys to acquire that same investment for themselves in a transaction, a precious metal situation, they would have leverage regardless of the outcomes. I want to pivot for a moment to the digital age, like that we're mentioning here. So cryptocurrencies offer a quote unquote advantage of instant transferability and divisibility, etc. Right? How does this differ from the traditional process of buying, selling, and transporting precious metals? And what implications does it have for wealth as a transitory force? And then you also mentioned you can get fractions of it with your outfit. Please, tie all that in together for us if you two don't mind.
Okay, so fractionally, which is the biggest key because that basically breaks it down to anyone can get into the gold and silver game. Um, it's a membership. There's three different memberships, and it goes from anywhere from like $150 to $600 as a membership. The highest membership is $599, and you have no annual fee at that point. It's for the rest of your life. You don't have to pay anything else but what you're going to buy in gold and silver. Fractionally, you can buy something. If this week or this month you have $10 extra, you can put $10 into your vault, and that you will have $10 worth of gold at that point. Once you get up to the point where you have enough for what is gold is worth, so let's say gold is worth $2,000 and you have $2,000 worth of gold at that point, one, you can choose to just leave it in the vault, or two, you can have it shipped, or excuse me, mailed FedEx directly to your home. So you have that tangible asset in your possession at that point, which you could do anything at that point. If you wanted to go down and sell it, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you need to, you could go down to any jewelry store or gold place and actually get whatever the equivalent is, and they would pay you whatever that is right then and there. Or you keep it in the vault and you can stack that up to $50,000 and you don't pay anything on that. You have no percentage, you know, you don't pay any fees at that point. Sorry.
Go ahead, Heidi was gonna add some.
Well, also you can just sell whatever it is you have back to the company, and the company will send you a check for what it was worth. You don't really have to go out to a jewelry store or
Right.
any of that. We do have other things within the membership that allow you to do that. Um, it also allows you to have an inventory of whatever you have. Um, it's just really, it's all in your hands. You have control over every part of the gold and silver that you choose to purchase. Um, some people have asked us, so we buy the gold from you? No, you don't buy it from us. We sell the membership, you buy from yourself. And that's how that works with where we're at. Um, like I said, we've got a wonderful team, a lot of wonderful people with us, knowledgeable about every area. Um, you have a question, we don't have the answer, we make a phone call, you get an answer. You get an answer from whether it be the founders or a CEO or just someone that is between us and them, that no, we're going to find the answer.
Right. And I want to speak out and say, for those who've been following me for decades, they know 15 years ago I was involved in a similar program. I won't mention any names for competition purposes and all that stuff. And what I want to bring out to them by saying that is, this is not a new concept. It is a great concept, especially for people, because the membership is actually, look at it like this: the membership allows access, right? Because what it's going to do is, for most people, like you said, an ounce of gold is going for what right now, 2K, give or
Yep.
take, a couple $100. So when they're thinking about buying gold, it's like, damn, I need 2K right here. I don't know, So to be able to stack it up over time, like you would pick up a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of you know, whatever, rice at the grocery store here and there, get a little extra, and eventually over time you have canned goods saved up, your pantry's full. That's how you want to look at the ability. So what happens is, out in the regular part of the industry, you don't have sellers of that. So this is giving them access to that exclusivity, right? To
Right.
be able to say, hey, give me a gram, right?
Mhm.
Versus something larger. So I like the fact that you have the fractional opportunity, because for the people that are worried and concerned with having the physical gold, it gives them the ability to basically, one, treat it like a stock market transaction itself. You can buy into it, watch it go up and down, sell it when it goes up, get cash out, and and keep going. Like, you could play it like the stocks, or like you said, Eric, you can say, okay, send me, I'm up to 2 grams now, I'm up to an ounce now, go ahead and send me my physical assets so I can put it in a vault somewhere, or whatever you're going to do with it, and go at it that way. So that's a unique opportunity to be able to just say, hey, let me hit this button, I'm gonna cash out the gram that I have, instead of taking it down to the gold local jeweler and trying to get it exchanged and do all that stuff. So that's amazing opportunity, and I can speak for the relevancy of the value to the community and the company myself, because I've had personal experience with that myself. So social credit scores is coming. You know, we talked about that on the channel here, and don't worry, you guys, we big on, we're gonna speak our mind here on YNet7. They know we talking, and we for entertainment purposes, and we not lawyers, and we not whatever, right? So that's how we rock here. So with social credit score coming, may influence financial access in a lot of places. Here is a tangible asset, gold, precious metals, that could have a beneficial impact in, in an individual standing in a system like that. Because now you're not going to have to rely on like Bitcoin, right, or the cryptos, but you can still have the ability to exchange down gold and silver. How do you see that really helping in such an environment at that point? As another reason for people to go say, hey, let me get some of this stocked up before this actually gets pushed down on, implemented on a society.
Well, at this point, credit score wouldn't matter. That's the way I see it. For if you stack up and you have $50,000 worth of gold and silver sitting in your vault that you can liquidate at any time, and you go in to try and purchase something, um, having a good credit score. I mean, lots of people have challenges, back in the day where, they have a foreclosure or they had bankruptcy. It it doesn't discriminate. That's what it comes down to. Gold and silver does not discriminate. You can pick
Amen.
up as much gold and silver as you want fractionally, or if you come into a bunch of money and you want to put it into gold and silver and you go and buy $10,000 worth of gold, that will stay there and it would only go up in value. It will not, I mean, I shouldn't say that. It'll go down in value. You might go down a couple dollars here, a couple dollars there, but in the long run, it always goes up. It
Yeah,
always goes.
your purchasing power is more
Yes,
maintained.
definitely. And going back to one of the questions you asked that Heidi got, that talked about is when we first got into this. Yeah, gold and silver is something we I wanted to always get in, not necessarily wanted to get into because I thought I could never get into it. Then we found this company, and then we get in fractionally, and then I found out this $1.2 million mistake. So I
Tell us
kind of
about
want to throw this in there.
it. Please do.
In 1986, they restarted minting. All the mints in the world started reminting the silver dollar, just like we used to have back in the day. When I was a little kid, I grew up in Merite housing, which is low income housing here. My grandmother would give me a silver dollar. She'd send me down to the store and she would say, "Go get me some milk."
Hmm.
I'll take a silver dollar, go down there, get milk, come back to the house. So they started minting the silver dollars again in 1986. If you bought one silver dollar from 1986 to 2020, out of pocket, you would have spent $50,000. Today, that $50,000 worth of silver that's sitting in your living room is now worth $1.4 million just from having that asset there and it going up in increments over a long period of time, 20 some odd years, 30 years,
Wow,
something like that. But that pile went from $50,000 to 1.4 million. I mean,
that's interesting.
I don't know where you get those kind of gains very much, you
Yeah,
know.
and now that you bring up that silver is actually poised to be much more of a gained gains opportunity than gold because gold is gonna let's say the economy, the currency crashes, economy whatever, shit hit the fan moment globally, all that good stuff, right? Gold is gonna explode, but silver, from my observations and research, looks to be able more like a 10x in comparison to gold's increase for the same explosion. Talk
Right.
about that for a moment to say, okay, maybe you are looking at gold as it's a significant investment.
Mhm.
Well, silver is like 10 to 20, divisions less than that, right? You can get into it for the same volume,
Right.
but it has the potential to explode more when it happens because silver is going to be much more populated. It's used in electronics, it's used in a lot more things than gold. So there's an industrial presence with it as well that's much stronger, which is going to make it explode even more when and if it pops off like that. So tell them about that. Tell them silver is an option too, and why.
Okay. Well, yes, silver. You know, when people talk about stocks and bonds,
Hmm.
about volatility, they say that it's more volatile to be in the silver market because it does big jumps up and down. But it didn't creep up to where the gold is right now. And that's the one that's real low. You can get way more of it. And at some point in the future, it's going to equivalate back up towards the gold. Gold is, don't get me wrong, gold is great. Gold is always going to go up too. But
Hmm.
the silver has the biggest jump that it can be taking once this thing does, it gets equal to where the gold is and starts moving back up. So you possibly going to be making a whole lot more money or have more money in the silver that you can either use and or leave to, you know, the next generation.
Right. Or the what you have left accumulated and leave to them now could explode in value in the next generation and be exponentially much more valuable. Either way, Heidi, you have anything to add on that topic?
Not so much.
Okay. Okay.
That gets above me a little bit.
Hey, we get it, man. It's okay to, you know what I
Does it?
mean?
It doesn't. She knows.
She got the expertise here and the emotional connections, right? We getting it together here. So let's look at some of the environmental conditions and considerations, right? That when we're talking gold and silver, many people aren't really talking about. And we're in the middle of quote unquote WWX515.A, right? So now, how might environmental sustainability of gold and precious metals play a role in reimagining the wealth and context of a more equitable and sustainable future? Because, like you mentioned, some of these countries is where the gold is being pulled out the ground at. If something happens there, now all of a sudden there's a consolidation of the flow, just like the oil market. All of a sudden, the output to the market shrink. The prices are going to explode as well, which could be much sooner, right? What?
Definitely.
How? Talk about it.
Well, I wish I had that expertise, and I wish I knew the ins and outs of that. Um, but like you said, different countries have um, these things that they get more of. Some places will have more gold, some places will have more silver. And it's not just other countries. We have a bunch of
Mhm.
this in the United States that people just don't bring up or talk about. So it's not like we're going to be cut out if once everything starts shrinking, or they're not bringing nearly as much out of the ground that they usually do. I haven't heard, and we got a couple of experts within the company that people that's been in the gold and silver market for 35, 40 years. And one of the gentlemen, all the information that he gets, he, as much as he can, he gives it to us. So I don't think at some point, if it does shrink down, obviously everything's going to go up. So the whole thing with that is, the quicker you get into it and you start getting some gold and silver behind you, you're always going to be on the high, on the better end of the whole situation.
Right.
Is what it's going to come down to. Um, get in as soon as you can. Start stacking. We spend $50 just on gold when we can. And it's not like we got thousands of dollars of gold in there. I don't even have an ounce of gold in my vault as of yet. So getting in and starting to work up to it, 10 years down the line, you never know how much gold you're going to have at this point, especially if you start doing it on the business side. And that's a whole different story, but then you can put more money into the gold and silver. And that's what we're hoping for us and for our friends and family that we have involved.
Heidi.
Um, no, if I was to say anything, um, I know there's a lot of different platforms to do this. They all come at some obscene prices. Um, and I'm glad that this one found me. We were able to find what we needed to become a member. We have a huge family across the world that can help us with people that are out there, people that live where you live. Um, Hawaii's, we're out here in the middle of the ocean, but we're touching people in Japan and the Philippines and New Zealand and just all those places out there, um, through this company, through our platform. We don't, as Eric said, we don't discriminate. The founders made it for the person that's living on the street. If they can just go and turn in their cans and bottles that they recycle, or if they play music and somebody throws them a coin, and just be able to get our lowest membership, they'll be able to access gold and silver. Anyone can access it, no matter if you think you can or you cannot. um Both of us have it. We never thought we could. We never bothered to really look very far into it. But we feel that this platform that found us was the best one to join with. Um, as I said, it is everyone's decision where it is they want to go. I don't care where you go, just find somewhere. Find
Right.
somewhere, buy yourself some gold and silver, and be able to make it through this inflation. And just when the world is done crashing and tries to get back on their feet, have something to be standing on your feet with. That's that's
Exactly.
that's pretty much how I feel about this. And I it's I don't know how long it's gonna take for them to start getting us back to normalcy. In Hawaii, there's a lot of things we don't have because they can't get it to us. They can't get products that we need across the world through customs coming out of the international places. They're having a hard time keeping things, our stores stocked, just anything. And I'm pretty sure a lot of it has to do with the currency and what is going on with trying to find, what the money medium is going to be. And if you don't have even just a little bit of gold and silver, what is going to happen to you? What's going to happen to us? Because that's basically where it's going. Long time ago, if you didn't have gold or silver, you couldn't get out of a war-ridden world. They wouldn't
Hmm.
take you. They left you there. If you had gold and silver, they made room for you on the boats that were leaving these countries. What happens if we get that far back now? Are you going to be left? Or are you going to have something to try and find yourself a way out? And that's just how I think about it. That's how I feel about it.
I appreciate that. A lot of people, like I said in the beginning, are living that life right now. And I appreciate you sharing it, especially being from Hawaii, where things were already insanely expensive prior to the what we call economic turndowns because of the, like you said, you're on an island. What we may enjoy on the mainland, a bottle of water is $1. It may be $5 for you there on a regular day because the cost of getting it to you guys, the extra cost of stocking it, and all that stuff, like you said, extra cost customs and all that stuff. So I like that Eric pointed out indirectly, have a plan that fits you guys. Like I heard when you said, I don't have an ounce yet. Well, we just talked about ounces, $2,000.
Right.
Okay. So to look at your current situation, having access does not mean become an addict.
Mhm.
Have a plan that works for you so that you don't go one day, oh, I just bought 10 bars of gold, and then damn, now you got to cash in 9 of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So have a plan that works realistically for you guys, that's sustainable in the community, because everybody's going to be at different places, different budgets. Nobody signed up to say, I'm going to sign up at the perfect time for me. Let's just get involved and do it. And Heidi, you brought up a great point as well about not only does this give you access to the product, but people are always looking for like minds to connect with. And this actually connects you with a whole network of people full of like minds that want to arrive at the same destination of some sort of financial freedom,
Hmm.
right? And then you got, like Eric mentioned, the guy that's looking into this, looking into that, becoming a subject matter expert in here, and he's sharing this information with the team globally as a whole that they may never have had the time to, because of their busy life, to get otherwise. So you have a network of people like that. All right. One last thing I want to cover here before I give you guys just the floor to open up for anything you want to say is there's a bridge where the technology and the Bitcoin technology, like the blockchain, actually aren't in competition, but they actually complement each other. And that could be like, imagine you buy a piece of gold jewelry. You might wonder where that came from and whether it was sourced ethically, those people, or you want to make sure human quality of life is, no matter what we're trying to do, high, right? So blockchain is a type of technology being explored currently as a way to create a clear record, like a digital certificate that shows exactly where the gold was mined and how it's processed, etc. So, with knowing that people are already looking into certifications to that degree, just speak on how, give the people peace of mind of how your brand, your source, um, validates and verifies the authenticity of the product so that they can feel confident when they source through your channels.
Well, when you buy the coins, when you buy silver coins and such from our company, it's there's a barcode of exactly where it comes from. So all of our coins come directly from the 8 or 9 mints around the world. So when you order them and they get to you, you scan them on your phone. We have an app. You scan it on the phone, and it tells you exactly what it's worth, what you bought it for, what the going rate is 2, 3 months down the line, and exactly what mint it came from. So it goes directly from the mint directly to our company and then directly to you. So it's tracked. Um, if God forbid somebody comes in, your house gets burglarized, they try and scan it, find out where it came from, and they try and sell it. The company will know that it was tied to you. They will call you and let you know your coin is now trying to be sold. And then they go ahead and do the things that they have to do. So everything is tracked. Every all that information is in with the company, and you have access to all of that. You know exactly where it came from, how much it is, and how much it's worth right now.
The
Awesome.
the coins in this platform, they don't get to us if they're not graded and authenticated.
Right.
Before they leave us, they're graded and authenticated. So you know that what it is you have in your hand and what it is that you're buying is the real thing. It doesn't end up being a lot of people buy things from pawn shops or through Amazon or whatever other platform there is out there, thinking, yeah, I did a good thing. I got this great piece.
Mhm.
And then
Cheap.
they go, yeah, the price for the price. That's a really good price. And then they go one day, decide they want to have it scanned, or they meet one of us and we say, hey, would you mind sharing what you have with us? Just a piece or two. And let's,
Get
look
it
at it.
tested.
Then we can tell them, let's get it tested. And then they find out it's a souvenir coin. It's not even gold. It's not silver. That doesn't happen if you're buying something through our platform. As Eric said, everything gets scanned. We have what is a monthly thing that is like it's something we buy monthly that like keeps the electricity on in our businesses. If you don't pay your electricity at home, your lights get shut off. For
Mhm.
us to keep us active, we buy a piece of gold or silver, and it keeps our business going, um, which is great because not only is it keeping us active, we're stacking.
Right.
So, for people who are worried that we're just, not the real deal, talk to one of us.
Mhm.
We're across the world, as I said. If you
Right.
bump into one of us, take the opportunity to find out. To go find out if your gold and silver is graded and authenticated. If yours don't have a plastic covering that has something like that, we can hook you up with someone that can check all of your coins, and then you can decide, do you want it to be encased in plastic so no more damage comes to the coin, and it can be more valuable down the road than if you keep it all mixed up with stuff and it gets more dense, or just more damage to it. And that goes for the your dollar bills, the silver certificates and stuff like that.
Mhm.
There's a greater an authenticator through here, that can help you to find out exactly what it is you have. um,
It's awesome.
that's not something you need to worry when you're buying from our platform. Also, everything you buy within the platform is made especially for us. You can't get it anywhere else. unless someone within our company sold it to someone who was looking for it, or maybe a friend saw it and wanted to buy it from that person.
And then
Also, a lot of the deals that are made when you're doing that is anonymously done. They don't know where you from, you don't know where they're from, but you will know that what you just bought was authentic.
that's a good point too. That it's anonymous, and so that their identities are protected.
Right.
And then, but at the same time, that's part of the security of the membership.
Mm-hmm.
It's validating that you are who you are to give you that traceability on your barcode to have it connected to you on all your product purchases. So, um, grid down scenarios or just everyday living, looking to build generational wealth. It's a medium of exchange. We're talking about preservation of wealth. We're discussing potential barter and trade element, store of value, portable wealth. It's portable. It's crisis
Mm-hmm.
insurance, globally recognized, as Heidi said, and basically a diversification of assets.
Exactly.
You guys bring a secure environment, a circle of safety for that. How should
Definitely.
people reach out to you? I'll put the information and links for both of you individually in the description below.
That'd be
What
great.
what what do you want to what do you want the people to know maybe that we haven't talked about thus far?
Go ahead.
Well, the first thing was get involved. Like Heidi said a little bit earlier, get involved in getting some gold and silver, be it with us and our company, be it with somebody else. It doesn't matter. Well, I shouldn't say that. It matters. We would like for you to come into our company and in our group and be part of our, as we say in Hawaii, our ohana, which is our family. You come in, we treat you as family. Period. You're not going to be a number and anything like that. But
Mhm.
if you decide to go someplace else and get involved in gold and silver, that's fine too. Just get involved. At some point, get some of this stuff behind you. It's only going to work for you. It's only going to go up in value over the long run. And you have all kinds of options to do other things within the company itself.
Right.
So that would be my thing. For us, get involved. For another company, get involved. It doesn't matter. Just get involved and get gold and silver behind you. It's always going to be good.
Eric, I just want to clarify one thing because I know what you're saying. Most people within the circle know what you're saying. When he says it's only going to go up in value, what that translates to for those critics that's going to be in y'all ears, because I know why that seven people we critical thinkers, we know what he's saying. But the articulation factor is that what we're really leveraging is purchasing power. If the currency goes to zero and pops back up with some new currency, you're going to be able to convert that into the new currency and maintain the purchasing power. We know that right now it takes $100 today, maybe a little more now, to buy what $2 bought in the 30s.
Right.
As he's talking about the currency will go to zero, that's what we're talking about. It takes $100 today to buy what $2 bought in the 30s. Heidi, closing remarks?
Um, I think we kind of touched on everything,
Give them the emotional impact here.
but no, not again. I don't know how to do anything but emotional.
That's what we need to connect with them. We got the emotional part and we got the informational part. That's why you make a great tag team. That's why I invited both of you guys here together, because I needed the community to get both sides.
Yeah, well, it's just because I know the struggle. Um, I know where I came from, and I know what I still do not have. Had I known about what I know now, I'm sure it would have started a long time ago. Um, you know, it's important to be able to know what you're getting is real. I understand that. That is why I think we're a lot more passionate about our platform, about our group. We don't go and share this with you and go, yay, we got you in, because I don't need you. You need what it is we're sharing. We don't need you. We need for people to understand. what is going on in the world, what is happening to their dollar, and where it is they need to look to be able to take care of themselves, their families, and just everything. And, you know, like Eric said, we don't care where you go. We would love to have you in our ohana, in our family. We each take care of everyone else. Nobody, our founders, no one gets more than he and I at the bottom of this humongous tree get. We all get the same amount of
Same price.
points. We all pay the same cost for everything we get, which, by the way, if you join our group, you get your things at a retail price at a wholesale price rather than a retail price. So you're already saving on
Mm,
your gold and silver.
mm.
One
That's
last,
amazing.
one last thing,
Yeah,
Pops,
please.
Pasha. Dollar bill. This is a silver dollar.
Bam.
So back in, I want to say the 30s, don't quote me on it. This was worth the same amount as this. $1, $1. You go down to the store, you could buy 1 gallon of milk with each.
Hmm.
Now, if you went to the store to get milk with this dollar bill, when you go to McDonald's and you get your coffee and then you can get your cream, that little
Right.
thumb, it's, I mean, I don't even know how much it is in there, but that little thing, that little creamer,
Wow.
that's what you buy. You might not even get one full creamer of milk with this dollar bill right now, with what the
Wow.
prices of milk is, nationwide on an average. With the same silver dollar that you could have back in the 30s when it got 1 gallon each, you can buy just under 9 gallons of milk with this one silver dollar.
Eric, that
That's
is
what I'm going to
amazing.
leave everybody with.
Yeah, that's an amazing analogy for reference and visual display. Uh, from a gallon to a little teeny cup of creamer that you really get like two squirts out of.
Exactly.
And if you had to drink that alone, would do nothing for you in comparison to a gallon of milk. Right? We're not gonna argue lactose and all that stuff. Just look at the
Right.
volume, people.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
you had a whole gallon, and you get a little two squirts
Or nine
or
gallons.
9 gallons in comparison. Amazing, and I appreciate you both. And Heidi just mentioned something to complement that as well that I touched on earlier. It's a wholesale price. So
Mhm.
think about it. People watching YouTube or something with the tracks New York or something, right? And you watch them go down into the Diamond District and negotiate deals. You're getting Diamond District access pricing, almost exclusivity with your access of your membership. You're not paying retail.
Yeah.
So,
And another,
so technically you get 9.8 or 10 gallons of milk when
right.
you so for your dollar for your gold
And then
silver
when
there.
people look into getting gold and silver on the internet, and they
Mhm.
say we can get you this price for gold and silver, it's not just for a little. You got to buy a volume to
Right,
get this price.
right.
So don't get strayed like, oh, we can get the same thing online.
Yeah,
Do your due diligence. Go and check. You
yeah.
can get this price, but you got to buy this much,
Yeah.
not just one.
That's true, and that's the correlation between the membership and the access too.
Right.
It's like
Yes.
anything else, people. When you have a product, Walmart's buying
Costco.
$5 billion worth of shampoo, they're getting 10 million units. When you
Hmm.
buy it from your local neighborhood seller that's buying it by a couple cases at a time, we gotta expect to pay more because they're not getting that same volume discount. But with
Exactly.
this access, you get access to that same volume discount without having to be a large consumer or having millions of dollars to turn over in the market every month to make that happen for you. I
Right.
really appreciate you guys coming and spending time with us today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Just one time over, let them know where they can reach you. Like I said, I'll put the links in the description, but if you want to give them a once over verbally so we can close out, that'll be great.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw my phone number and my email out there. Is that good? Okay, I'm
Do
Eric
what you do.
Martinez. My phone number is 808-388-7863. My email address is kidsfirst808@gmail.com. So that is KIDS, the number one, ST 808 at gmail.com. Heidi?
And my name is Heidi Canoel. My phone number is 808-386-8146. And my email is kuuluvaiona808 at gmail.
I'm going to help them with that one.
Yeah, I'll put the spelling in the description below. I just wanted to make sure that they got an opportunity to hear it from you.
The spelling of that is KUULUWAIONA 808 at gmail.com.
Awesome, awesome. And even with and you see, guys, it's really a bonding agent for the future generations because even like with Eric's email, I know the backstory of it. His kids are a large reason why he got started wanting to over time build and set them up for the future. So having kids in his email only shows you the true value and the connection emotionally to what a platform like this offers, not just you, but your grandmother and your grandchildren for the future. I like.
My email is my four girls' names, portion of their names.
See,
So I too carry my children.
Yes.
you got the thought to mind. It resonates. Eric, Heidi, I appreciate you guys today. Say bye to the people.
Hello, everyone.
Aloha.
Have a good one. Thank you very much, Pasha.
Always the perfect day. I'm Pasha Paro. Thank you for